You can make some very beautiful and some very delicate and very touching things with a technique called sheet layering. Okay, we have a wet sheet down here that I have dipped, and I can make another sheet, leave it wet, put it down on there, press, and the two will become one sheet. Now, before you put the second sheet on, you can lay something in there, and that is then embedded between the two sheets. Let's just take one example. We'll show you how this works. So here's a sheet that I've dipped. Now I dipped a second sheet right here. That's on the cover screen. Now we will put that wet sheet on top of this one. But before we put them together, note, we can take something like this. This is a yarn, and this is 20 inches for the size sheet that I'm making here. And we can put that right in there like that. And tamp it down a little bit. Then we can take the other one, put it in there like that, and get these reasonably even. All right, there they are. Now I will take this very wet sheet. You don't take any water out because the strength of the bond between these two layers of pulp is going to depend on how much water is there. And the trick here is to get one sheet lined up with the other so that they match. And that's why I use the cover screen for making this second sheet, because I can see through it, and hopefully we will get a very, very good match. And there we are. If I can do this in front of cameras, you can certainly do it not in front of cameras. There we are. Now we will take that out, put it over here, and we will, in the usual fashion, remove some water like that. And in fact, what we would do is simply go through the regular paper making process of using press and dry sheets, removing water with this, that we do for making a regular sheet. The only difference is going to be that we have two pieces of yarn running through the middle. Now, it would take quite a while to iron and dry this, and we would certainly leave the press sheets over it as we dried it. But let's just leave it like this, and we'll show you several examples of what you can do when you have completed the pressing and drying of this sheet layering technique. Here is an example. Isn't that beautiful? And here are the two pieces of yarn which were in there. We took the 5.5 by 8 sheet, folded it once, and then if you're good, maybe if you're an old sailor like I am, you remember your knots. You can do a lot of beautiful things with delicate tying of knots. There's one example. Here's another example. Again, we had the big sheet, folded it into card size, and look at the tying that was done there. Then, if you want to add something, you can glue on some very decorative ribbon, and this is a bit of jewelry. Glue is a wonderful thing to add to the formula. Look at this. A little bit later on, when you're really practiced, you can leave a hole in one sheet, sheet layer, and you have a window for decoration, and there's some ribbon there. Now, you don't want to try this the first time, but later you can put things like this down on the wet sheet, get a very thin sheet, and pulp layer that over it, and then before you do any drying, remove some of the pulp so that you can see these different items. Like I said, don't try that right away, but look at what might be in your future.